the keynote is our second guest of honor. He's here to talk about how his Jesuit education has influenced the way he has lived his personal and professional life. And call on President and General Manager of Kraft Food Philippines Incorporated, Mr. Sudip Mall. He's also an MBA graduate of Xavier Labor Relations Institute, or XLRI, in Jamshedpur, India. XLRI hosted the IAJB BS World Forum. Mr. Mall.
Distinguished deans and my fellow alumni. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Good evening to those from outside Philippines. It's a great honor to be here today, and it makes me feel nervous like a student again, because I believe my ex-dean from my institute, Father Abraham, is here, and he believed in nothing but excellence. So, Father, I hope I get my passing grade after this talk. Actually, when I grew up in India, in a middle-class family, those days there were only three choices, great career choices. One was either you become a doctor, or an engineer, or a bureaucrat in a government. Now, I was mortally afraid of dissecting living beings, so biology, so doctor, that ruled out. My father was a bureaucrat in government, so I knew the pitfalls of being in government. So I followed the footsteps of my two siblings and became an engineer. Then I did an intern program in one of the companies which makes aircraft in India. And then I discovered that if I continued in that profession, a lot of aircraft would crash in India. So I chose the profession for which you need no skill. I joined an MBA course. I had a choice between two institutes, two premier institutes of India, Indian Institute of Management and XLRI. And I chose XLRI, and I'm glad that I made that choice. I am today what I am because thanks to the education that I received in XLRI. Of course, the functional training on finance, marketing, operations, human resources was great. But what actually stood out in the education that I received, there are three things. The first thing was the focus on character building through focus on value-based education. We know that after the recent financial crisis, Enron and many such scandals, today it's fashionable among top MBA schools to talk about ethics. But when I did my MBA 20 years back, in that time, ethics was an integral part of our education course. What we were told while making profit is definitely the primary objective of business. It should be done the right way. It should be done in a sustainable way. And I'm glad that I received that education. When I started my career in sales, in sales, I don't know how many of you know that there is always a temptation when you have a month ending, or there is this temptation to push in extra stocks. That is false sales. But that never struck my mind. And when I started heading a business, you have many times temptations to do creative accounting. But it actually, thanks to the education I received, I never succumbed to such temptations. The other things the other one which you received was that it is important to give back to society what you have received. Today in Philippines, part of Kraft Foods, we have very strong community programs. Last year when Ontario struck us, 200 of us went out and helped the people who were displaced. We have partnered with Save the Children Foundation, which feeds around 50,000 children here in Philippines. And last month, in fact, many of us went out and painted one government school, a public school, and those kind of joys are so important in life, and that's what the education taught us. Also, one of the things that we have been doing is helping the environment. Like last 2 years, we have cut down our carbon dioxide emission by 10%, water consumption by 10%, because we know that while business has a reason to exist, we have to do it in a sustainable way by helping our environment. The second important thing that we learned in XLRI was the importance of people. Finally, the only job of leaders is to bring out the greatness in people and unlocking the potential of the people. If you do that, rest of everything falls into place. So, as you know that XLRI stands for Labor Relations Institute, and maybe because of that, we had lots of people-based programs. And one of the programs, for example, was on transactional analysis. I was wondering, what is transactional analysis got to do with MBA program? But Father Prabhu, who took that course, really, when I took that course, it helped me build my self-awareness. It helped me in understanding other people. For people, meet people like me, we also had a program called Assertiveness Training Program, where you actually made, this taught us actually the difference between aggressiveness and assertiveness. But when I look back, something which really helped me was the focus in the education on interpersonal communication. I was a very shy person. Would never dream of talking to a group of people like this. But I am able to speak to you today because thanks to Father Jesuit, who was our communication teacher, and he would keep awake till 12 in the midnight. He would make us speak, videotape, and play it back to us, saying that how we could improve. And that's fantastic. Those kind of things make a big difference in executives like me. The third thing which really stood out in our education is as human beings, we are not unidimensional. We are multidimensional. And some of the dimensions are physical, mental, psychological, and spiritual dimension. And it's so important to have a balance. And we were asked to have a life outside academics. We had a great cricket field, soccer field. We went out and played. We had a music room for the musically inclined, a great library. But what's more important was people were also encouraged to go for their spiritual pursuits. Doesn't matter which religion you are from. Well, you're a Catholic, you went to a church. If you're a Hindu, you went to a temple. And if you're a Muslim, you went to a mosque. But what was more important is to really find that spiritual anchor in your life. Now, when I look back and I say that corporate life is quite stressful. There are a lot of changes which happen, and sometimes the changes are really lethal. But what really has helped me keep my peace and help me be very calm in handling all the situation is the fact that the education taught me to have that spiritual anchor in my life. Having said that, and the fact that I had done my MBA 20 years back, and I am not really in tune with today's curriculum, but I have a few questions for the deans here. Maybe those are really taken care of. The first thing is, as we know, when I started my MBA 20 years back, it was about old management theory, which was the theory of mass production, where management theory was about controlling, about directing, when there were hierarchies which existed in the organization. But today's organization is different. There is no hierarchy.